Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today, I want to talk about something we've all faced, whether we admit it or not. It's 2025, and if there's one resolution you take with you this year, let it be this: cut them off silently. Yes, silently. We live in a world that often confuses noise with strength, but strength isn't always loud. It's not always about dramatic exits or long explanations. Sometimes it's about knowing your worth and walking away. Without turning it into a performance, too many of us, especially women, are raised to believe that we need to fix, to please, to explain ourselves. We give and give and give, hoping people will see our value. But let me tell you something from personal experience: the people who truly see your worth don't need to be convinced. If someone treats you like you're replaceable, like you're optional, it's not your job to prove them wrong. It's your job to believe them and move on, silently, gracefully, unapologetically, because chasing people who devalue you doesn't make them stay. It just makes you forget your own value, and let me say this: you are not a backup plan. You are not a second choice. You are not someone's convenience. You are a force, and cutting people off isn't about ego. It's not about bitterness. It's about alignment. It's about surrounding yourself with energy that lifts you, not drains you. With people who clap when you win, not just tolerate your light. So in 2025, I want you to give yourself permission to stop chasing, to stop explaining, to stop settling. Walk away from those who don't value you, and do it with silence so loud it echoes in their world forever. Remember, your peace is more important than someone's approval. Your energy is your currency, and your presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. So go on. Cut them off, no drama, no announcement, just growth. Silence has a power that is often underestimated. In a world where we're constantly told to speak up, stand out, and fight to be heard, we forget that sometimes the strongest move is to say nothing at all and walk away. When someone shows you they no longer respect you, value you, or treat you as essential, you don't need to create a scene or seek closure. There is a kind of grace and power in simply choosing to exit quietly, intentionally, and without explanation. The idea of cutting someone off silently doesn't come from arrogance or revenge. It comes from a deep place of self-respect. It is about understanding that your peace matters more than anyone else's confusion about your boundaries. When you stay silent, you're not giving them the chance to manipulate your emotions or twist your intentions. You're taking control of your narrative, protecting your mental space, and choosing to invest your energy elsewhere. We often feel the need to justify our boundaries, especially with people we've loved, supported, or stood by. We want them to understand why we're walking away, as if our pain needs to be validated before we can let go. But the truth is, people who make you feel replaceable rarely change just because you pour your heart out. They don't start respecting you because of one last emotional conversation. In fact, the more noise you make on your way out, the more power you're handing back to someone who has already shown you that they don't deserve a front row seat in your life. Silence speaks, and it speaks loudly. It says, "I've seen enough." It says, "You don't have access to me anymore." It says, "I am done explaining myself to people who are committed to misunderstanding me." And most importantly, it says, "I choose myself." There's something profoundly mature about walking away without slamming the door. You don't need to broadcast your decision. You don't need to warn anyone. Just move, shift your focus, build your peace, and let the silence do the talking. Because, believe me, when someone is used to having your time, energy, and presence, your absence is the loudest message you can send. This is not about being passive, it's about being intentional. About knowing that you don't owe access to anyone who treats you like an option, and when you decide to cut someone off silently, you're doing it for you, not for revenge, not for attention, but for healing. For clarity, for your own personal power. In 2025, let silence be your strength. Let it be your boundary, your exit strategy, and your new standard. Because people will notice your absence far more than they respected your presence, and that truth will echo louder than any words ever could. Knowing your worth is one of the most powerful realizations you can have, especially in a world that constantly tries to make you forget it. When someone treats you like you're replaceable, like your presence is optional or your energy is disposable, that is not the time to argue, prove yourself, or hold on tighter. That is the time to pause, reflect, and choose yourself, fully and without hesitation. Because the way people treat you is often a reflection of how they see you. but how you respond is a reflection of how you see asterisk yourself asterisk. We're often conditioned to think that we must work harder for love, for friendship, for approval. That we must bend, sacrifice, and shrink just to be worthy of someone else's attention. But when you truly understand your worth, that mindset shifts. You begin to see that love isn't something you should have to beg for, that respect isn't something you chase. It's something you command simply by being aligned with who you are and refusing to tolerate anything less. When people make you feel replaceable, it's easy to fall into the trap of trying to prove them wrong. You might start doing more, giving more, or excusing things you shouldn't, just to be seen, to be appreciated. But doing that only places your self-worth in someone else's hands, and that's a dangerous game to play. Your value isn't determined by how others treat you. It's not something that fluctuates based on someone else's opinion, mood, or validation. It's constant, it's inherent, it's yours. The most powerful thing you can do when someone makes you feel like you don't matter is to stop trying to matter to them, not in bitterness, not with resentment, but with clarity. You deserve to be around people who recognize your light without you having to constantly shine it in their face. People who appreciate your presence without you needing to convince them why you should be in their life. When you know your worth, you stop negotiating with people who undervalue you. You stop justifying why you deserve respect, love, time, and consideration. You stop allowing crumbs to feel like a feast. And instead, you begin to attract relationships, friendships, partnerships, collaborations that are rooted in mutual value and genuine care. Sometimes the most healing thing you can do is believe what someone shows you the first time they disregard you. Don't wait for patterns to become pain. Don't wait until the damage is too deep. Recognize the signs and, more importantly, recognize your own worth in those moments. Walk away not because you're angry, but because you remembered who you are. You are not replaceable. You are not here to be tolerated. You are not someone's backup or afterthought. You are the entire story. And when you start living like you believe that, you won't just stop chasing people. You'll naturally rise into spaces where you're celebrated, not questioned. Chasing approval is a cycle that quietly drains your energy, your confidence, and your sense of self. It starts with a small desire to be seen, to be understood, to feel valued by someone you care about. But over time, that desire can become a habit. You start adjusting your words, your behavior, even your personality, all in hopes of earning someone's validation. You begin performing for people who only show up when it's convenient for them, and slowly, almost without noticing, you lose pieces of yourself in the process. The truth is, chasing approval from the wrong people will never lead to the fulfillment you're seeking. It leads to exhaustion because the people who genuinely value you don't need convincing. They don't require you to mold yourself into a version that suits their comfort. They accept you as you are, flaws, brilliance, edges, and all. But when you chase approval, you end up measuring your worth through someone else's lens, constantly seeking feedback to feel whole. And that's not love. That's dependency disguised as connection. When someone treats you like you're easy to replace, or they only show up when they need something, the last thing you should do is try harder. The moment you feel the urge to prove your value is the moment you need to pause and reflect. Why are you trying to convince someone to care? Why are you handing over your worth like it's up for negotiation? The most dangerous thing about constantly seeking approval is that it teaches you to ignore your own instincts. It tells you to keep tolerating disrespect as long as you are not a second option, not in friendships, not in love, not in any space where your heart, your time, or your energy are involved. Too often, we find ourselves in situations where we're treated like an afterthought, kept around for convenience, for comfort, or as a backup plan when everything else falls through. And because we care, because we hope, we stay. We accept the bare minimum. We tell ourselves it's temporary, that maybe they're just going through something, that maybe if we just hold on a little longer, they'll finally see us the way we see them. But the truth is, if someone sees you as optional, you will never feel like a priority in their life. Choosing to remain in situations where you are not truly valued chips away at your self-worth. It trains you to settle, to accept less than what you deserve, and to mistake attention for love. But attention that comes only when it's convenient for someone else is not care, it's control. And the longer you stay, the more you internalize the message that being treated like a placeholder is somehow okay. It is not. Being someone's second choice is never a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their inability to see clearly. You are not responsible for teaching someone how to love you. You are not required to prove why you are worthy of effort, commitment, or consistency. When someone truly wants you in their life, they show it. Not with empty words or occasional gestures, but with action, presence, and respect. There's a deep power in deciding that you will no longer play the role of a backup in anyone's story. It doesn't mean you're being harsh or unforgiving. It means you've recognized your own value and you're no longer willing to be treated as anything less than essential. You deserve to be in spaces where you're chosen on purpose, not as an option when better things don't work out. You deserve love that feels certain, not love that keeps you guessing. You deserve to be around people who would never make you question your place in their life. When you stop allowing yourself to be an option, you start attracting people who see you as a priority. And sometimes the people you surround yourself with shape your energy, your mindset, and even the direction your life takes. That's why it's so important to be intentional about who gets to stay in your space. You deserve to be around people who don't just tolerate your presence, they celebrate it. People who don't flinch when you succeed, who don't shrink when you shine. People who see your light and say, "Go brighter," because anything less than that is not support, it's quiet resistance. Too often, we hold onto relationships out of history, habit, or obligation. We keep people in our lives because they've always been there, even if their energy no longer matches the path we're on. We ignore the subtle jabs, the lack of support, the disinterest in our growth, all because we fear being alone or we feel guilty for outgrowing someone. But the truth is, real relationships evolve with you. They adjust, they expand, and they rise to meet the new version of you. If someone is intimidated by your growth or uncomfortable with your confidence, that's a sign. And it's not your responsibility to dim your light to make others feel better in the shadows. The right people won't compete with you. They won't be silently envious. They'll root for you loudly, consistently. They'll speak your name in rooms you're not in. They'll remind you of your power when you forget. They'll challenge you, not out of jealousy, but out of love and belief in your potential. That's the energy you deserve around you. We all need people who see us clearly, not just when we're struggling, but when we're succeeding. Who are not only there when we're broken, but who stay when we begin to heal and thrive. Some people only know how to show up for your pain, because that's when they feel useful or superior. But when you begin to elevate, when you start owning your power, they retreat. Or worse, they subtly try to pull you back. Pay attention to those shifts. They tell you everything. You don't need a large circle. You need a real one. Growth is often quiet. It happens in moments of solitude, in private realizations, in decisions no one else sees. And sometimes, the most powerful transformation you'll ever experience is the one you don't announce. It's not dramatic or loud. It's calm, intentional, and deeply personal. Choosing to let go of people who no longer serve your peace, stepping away from spaces that no longer align with your growth, or closing doors that never